Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is match day 4. Alright, so let's get right into it. So in this match day 4, we have Germany versus Curaçao, Ivory Coast versus Ecuador, Netherlands versus Japan, and Sweden versus Tunisia. So let's get right into it. But before we get into it, I just want to say, if I pronounce the words or the names wrong, once again, I'm sorry. I'm not really fond of that. I can't really say all of the names. But this isn't going to be a statistic dump. We're talking about football, tactics, personality, and most importantly, what could happen actually once the whistle blows. So, first match, we got Germany versus Curaçao. Every World Cup, Germany enters with expectations, but this Germany feels different. I still remember Germany 2014. That was great, honestly. For the first time in years, they're not walking into the tournament as one of the obvious favorites after the disappointing exit in 2018 and 2022. There's pressure on Julian Nagelsmann to prove Germany belongs among the elite again. The good news, this squad is loaded. We got people like Musiala, Wirtz, Kimmich, Havertz. That's a core that can hurt any team in the tournament. The midfield creativity is probably Germany's biggest strength. When Musiala and Wirtz get on the ball, they don't just create chances, they create chaos. Now, on the other side, we have the story of the tournament, Curaçao. A nation of roughly 158,000 people making its first ever World Cup appearance. Advocaat has somehow taken this tiny football nation to the biggest stage in the world. I think that's how you say his name. I'm not sure though. YouTube, please don't take this down. That's an actual person's name. And here's why I think people are underestimating them. They have absolutely nothing to lose. Nobody expects them to beat Germany. Nobody expects them to advance. That freedom can be dangerous. But over 90 minutes, Germany simply has too much quality. I think Curaçao stay organized early, maybe frustrates Germany for a while, then eventually the talent gap shows. So my prediction, I think I'm going with Germany on this one. Let's go with 2-0 or 3-0. Germany wins. Then we have Ivory Coast versus Ecuador. This might actually be the most underrated game of the entire day. If you're a casual fan, you see Ivory Coast and Ecuador and think, okay, decent match. No, this is two teams nobody wants to face. Let's start with Ivory Coast. This team is athletic, aggressive, and full of players competing at a high level. We got Casey, Sangare, Amad Diallo, Adrigra. They have power and pace all over the pitch. And what I love about them is they don't care who they're playing. They'll press, they'll tackle, they'll run all the games. Then there's Ecuador. For me, Ecuador has one of the most underrated defenses at the World Cup. Piero Hinchapi, William Pacho, Moises Caicedo shielding them. That's a nightmare to play against. But the problem, goals. That's always the question with Ecuador. Can they score enough? Because defensively they're elite. Offensively, they're sometimes frustrating. This feels like one of those games where neither team wants to make the first move or the first mistake. Very physical, very tactical, very intense. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this ended in a 0-0. But I think both teams could find a moment in between. So my prediction will still be a draw, 1-1. So I guess this game could be kind of boring. But we'll see. Then we have the Netherlands versus Japan. Now we're talking about the game I'm excited the most for. Netherlands versus Japan. This is the kind of match of the football fans dream about. The Netherlands have stars everywhere. Van Dijk, Frenkie de Jong, Ryan Gravenberch, Tijjani Rangers, Cody Gakpo. This team is balanced, strong defensively, creative in midfield, dangerous going forward. But here's the thing, Japan never cares about reputation. They don't look at the badge, they don't look at the rankings, they don't look at history, they just play football. And they played incredibly well. Japan's movement off the ball is some of the best in international football. They're disciplined, they're organized, and when they transition from defense to attack, they're lightning fast. We've already seen Japan shock major nations in previous World Cups. Nobody laughs at Japan anymore. The reason I slightly favor the Dutch is midfield control. When Frenkie de Jong is healthy and dictating the game, the Netherlands become very difficult to press. But I don't think this is comfortable at all. I think Japan makes them work for every inch. Like if you want a goal, you gotta work extra hard. This feels like one of those matches where the Netherlands scores first, Japan equalizes, and then one moment of brilliance decides everything. But for me, I'd still go for the Netherlands. So my prediction would be 2-1. Netherlands win. And Sweden versus Tunisia. This is game 4. This is the game people are sleeping on. And honestly, that's exactly why it could be fun. Let's start with Sweden. The headline is simple. Alexander Isak, Victor Gyökeres. That's one of the best attacking duos outside the tournament favorites. If both players are healthy and in form, Sweden can score against anyone. The question is, everything behind them. Can the midfield constantly create chances? Can the defense hold up against pressure? That's where Sweden becomes harder to predict. Now Tunisia. People have been writing Tunisia off before tournaments for years, and somehow they always find a way to stay competitive. They're organized, they're disciplined, and they're usually much harder to break down than people expect. The problem is that they often struggle to score goals against stronger opponents. That's why I think this game comes down to finishing. Both teams will get chances. Sweden just has better finishers. That's my opinion though. That's the difference. Not tactics, not possessions, not statistics, quality in front of the goal. So my prediction, I'll be leaning in against Sweden. Sweden wins 2-0 against Tunisia. Alright, for the final thoughts. If my predictions are right, Germany starts strong. Ivory Coast and Ecuador shares the same points. The Netherlands edge past Japan in the game of the day. And Sweden takes control of second place in Group F. But here's the beauty of the World Cup. Predictions don't win matches. The favorites don't always win. And somewhere in these 4 games, there's probably going to be an upset nobody sees it coming. So now I want to hear it from you. Which predictions do you agree with? Which one is completely wrong? And which team is about to shock the entire world? Drop your predictions down in the comments because I really want to know about your opinions. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like and subscribe button. And I'll see you in the next World Cup breakdown, which is tomorrow. There's going to be one every single day. So, I'll see you there. Peace.